Paradise, its people and its blessings, is a subject that is never spoken of in public discourse in the West, although it remains a key teaching of Islam and is also found in the Christian Gospels, in the New Testament, and in the Jewish Talmud. And I want to continue reading from an essay by Sheikh Hamza Yusuf, which is to be found in the Study Quran, a new translation and commentary edited by Syed Hossein Nasser. And Sheikh Hamza Yusuf writes in an essay subtitled Paradise, Its People and Its Blessings. Ibn Abbas, the cousin of the Prophet and one of the first great exegetes of the Quran, stated, "There is nothing in paradise related to this world except the names." In a hadith whose authenticity is widely attested, the Prophet said, "God says, I have prepared for my righteous servants what no eye has seen, no ear has heard, and what never occurred to the heart of anyone." Or recite, if you like, "No soul knows what comfort is kept hidden for it as a recompense for that which they used to do," quoting Quran 32:17. Despite the unknowable nature of the afterlife, ample descriptions are given throughout the Quran that both delight and terrify, but are clearly meant only to approximate our understanding of the ineffable. When asked, "Of what is paradise made?" the Prophet replied, using a symbolic language, "Bricks of gold and bricks of silver. Its floor is of pure musk. The stones of paradise are pearls and rubies. Its earth is saffron. The one who enters it is blessed, never experiences suffering, dwells therein eternally, and knows no death. Clothes do not wear out, and youth never fades." The essence of paradise is mercy, which Islamic spirituality identifies with an inner dimension more apparent in the female nature. In this context, it should be recalled that the Arabic word for womb is rahim, which is cognate with and shares the trilateral root of the word for mercy, which is rahmah. Such realities must be taken into consideration in imagining the spiritual role of women and their presence as natural inhabitants of paradise in the form of huris, Houris. As for the structure of paradise, it is said in traditions that its gates are 8 in number. The Prophet stated, "None of you performs lustrations before prayer, does it well, and then says, 'I testify that there is but one God and that Muhammad is his servant and messenger,' except that all 8 gates of paradise are open for him, and he may enter from any one he so chooses." The Prophet also said, "I will come to the gate of the garden on the day of judgment and request that it be opened. The one charged with it will say, 'And who are you?' I will reply, 'Muhammad.' He will then say, 'I was commanded not to open it for anyone before you.'" The people of paradise are ranked in degrees. In Surah 56, it marks them as the companions of the right and the foremost, while the companions of the left mentioned in this surah are those who are deprived of the paradisal state. The foremost are described as the ones brought nigh in gardens of bliss, many of those of old, and few of those of latter times. Upon embroidered couches, reclining upon them, facing one another, immortal youths wait upon them with goblets, ewers, and a cup from a flowing stream, wherefrom they suffer neither headache nor stupefaction, and with fruits as they choose, and the meats of birds as they desire, and there shall be wide-eyed maidens, the likeness of concealed pearls, as a recompense for that which they used to do. As for those on the right, they are the ones who are given their books in their right hands. The same surah describes them as the companions of the right. And the companions of the right, what are the companions of the right? Among the thornless lote trees, clustered plantains, and extended shade, gushing water and abundant fruit, neither out of reach nor forbidden, and upon raised beds. Truly we brought them into being as a new creation. then made for them virgins, amorous peers, for the companions of the right, many from those of old, and many from those of later times. As they enter the paradisal gardens, the believers are greeted by angels who say, "Enter in peace, secure as brothers, upon couches facing one another." It is also said that the people of paradise, hear no idle talk therein, nor incitement to sin, save that peace, peace is uttered, and that when they reach it, its gates will be opened, and its keepers will say to them, "Peace be upon you, you have done well, so enter it to abide therein." It's 39:73. The age of the people of paradise is said to be 30 years, considered the prime of life in Arabia. The Prophet stated, "Whoever dies in this world, either young or old, will be restored to the age of 30 in paradise, and will never increase in age. Likewise for the denizens of hell." Echoing biblical descriptions, the Quran describes the garden as having rivers of milk, wine, and honey, 47:15. Its inhabitants also enjoy what is described as a camphor drink and one of ginger as well, 76:5. In addition, wells spring forth when one desires to drink, 76:6. Though, according to most authorities, animals of this world will be turned to dust on the day of judgment, those that were beloved pets of the righteous in this life will also appear in paradise to accompany their owners. There are other animals in paradise as well. In a sound tradition, the Prophet describes the horses of paradise, and a man asked, "Will there be camels?" The Prophet replied, "In paradise is whatever pleases you and delights your eye." The food of paradise is described as delicious fruits such as grapes, pomegranates, bananas and dates, aromatic herbs, drinks, and various meats, especially the meats of fowl. The body apparently will also have a type of metabolism, as it did in this life. The Prophet explained that the inhabitants of paradise neither urinate nor defecate. Instead, they perspire a perfumed musk scent. What an extraordinary thing. The descriptions of the sensual delights of paradise in the Quran and the Hadith have historically caused many non-Muslims much consternation, and although no soul knows what comfort is kept hidden for it as a recompense for that which they used to do, 32:17, the descriptions seem to indicate that the delights of this world shall have their counterpoints in kind, however different in degree, in the next life. The delights of paradise are likened to the delights of this lower world. However, because of the interconnection between all possible states of experience, they are unlike them because of the incommensurability between different dimensions or levels of reality. Earthly delights are, in fact, reflections of paradisal ones. The wide-eyed maidens, or houris, of paradise, as mentioned in several verses, are described as untouched and buxom in 55:56, 78:33. They are pure companions for the righteous. Some exegetes argue that the houris are the spouses from this world who are purified and whose virginity is restored. Others maintain that they are uniquely created for paradise. They represent loving kindness and are of the same age. The joys of paradise are archetypes of the joys we experience in the earthly realm, including food, drink, and lovemaking. The joy of sexual union can even be seen as a symbol and manifestation, an earthly manifestation of spiritual union. Al-Ghazzali states, "Man has been made subject to sexual desire for two beneficial reasons. The first of these is that by knowing its delight, he is able to draw an analogy which suggests to him what the delight of the afterlife must be like. For the delight of the sexual act, as it were, would be the greatest pleasure of the body, just as the pain of a burn is the body's greatest agony." According to the Quran, Therein they shall have whatsoever they will, and with us there is more. 50:35. The more mentioned in this verse is the beatific vision. The highest and greatest blessing of paradise is the vision of the divine, which scholars of Islam have argued occurs with an eternal, non-spatial and ineffable eye. In his creed, Al-Tahawi writes, the beatific vision is a reality for the people of paradise, without enclosure or modality, just as the Book of God pronounces. Faces that day shall be radiant, gazing upon their Lord. 75:22. Its explanation is as God knows it to be and as he intended. Now, this breaking off from the story here is really important because many, particularly non-Muslims, get the impression that Islam just speaks of a very carnal heaven, a very carnal paradise experience, but that's clearly not the case. Yes, there are pleasures that are of eating and drinking, although in their own kind, quite different from our sensation here. But the more mentioned in this verse, the greatest and highest blessing of heaven, according to the Quran, is the vision of God. And this idea of the vision of God is found in Catholic teaching as well, particularly in Thomas Aquinas in the Catholic tradition. So it's a state that is shared, it's understood to exist in heaven for Christians and Muslims. Al-Ghazali, Sheikh Hamza Yusuf, continues. Although the Quran suggests in several verses that people enter paradise as a result of their actions in this world, in reality it is ultimately by the grace of God. Deeds are necessary, but not sufficient. The Prophet said, "None of you will be saved by his actions." His companions asked, Not even you, O Messenger of God? He replied, "Not even me, unless God envelops me in his mercy." Now this again, another crucial teaching that non-Muslims, maybe some Muslims too, get wrong. You don't get into paradise by your good work. Even Muhammad didn't get into paradise by his good works. It's ultimately by the grace of God. Deeds are necessary, but they're not sufficient. Nevertheless, the place of individuals in paradise and their experience of the afterlife is, without contradiction, also, of course, based upon what they have done and thought in this life. The Quran says, "Those who believe and perform righteous deeds shall be made to enter gardens with rivers running below, abiding therein by the leave of their Lord. Their greeting therein shall be peace. Hast thou not considered how God sets forth a parable? A good word is a good tree, its roots firm and its branches in the sky. It brings forth fruit in every season by the leave of its Lord, and God sets forth parables to mankind, that haply they may wonder." This parable immediately follows a description of paradise for those who were righteous on earth. The parable is of the tree of belief. The actions that strengthen it are firmly rooted in this world. However, its branches and fruits are celestial and obtained in the next world. The seeds of otherworldly fruits must be planted in this world, but are harvested in the next. And I think I will leave that there, running out of time. I think that's a fascinating insight into the Islamic teaching, the Quran's teaching on paradise, and the greatest blessing is the vision of God, and also how one enters into it. It's not by being super good, it is by doing the will of God, doing good works, but ultimately by the mercy of God one enters into the presence of the Lord. I think that's beautiful teaching. Until next time.